Welcome back, everyone. Here's another video requested by you. Apparently there are some of you who really like this dishwasher, so we're going to try washing some actual dishes in it today. These are a couple extra plates, a bowl, and some utensils from the last couple of days. I did not do anything to pre-rinse these, and some of them have been sitting over this time and getting a little more solidified. So here's what we have. Got 3 plates sitting in front, got a bowl behind, and then some utensils on the right hand side over there. What I'm going to be using for soap, just because it's all I have, is one of these pre-made packets. This dissolves in the water. So I'm just going to drop this right down in here, just so it's easy for it to get to. Get this closed up. There we go. Alright, down here we have a completely full, or almost so, supply tank and an empty drain tank. We're plugged in. I am using my power meter again today. So, just to show you, we have this zeroed out. I guess you can't actually see that, can you? There we go. It is zeroed out. Alright. So, let's turn this on. I figured if we're going to be using dried on stuff, then let's go ahead and use the long cycle today. I'm going to use Dishwasher. This is the longest cycle it has. It's set for 1.5 hours. So I want to find out, 1, does a single tank of water work for this? Does it truly just extend each portion of the cycle, or does it need more water? And 2, how much power does it draw for a long cycle? So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I'm draining a little bit over here, and this will be just what was left from the fruit cleaning cycle I did. Let's see if we're running any heat yet. Looks like we're testing a couple things again. Okay, around 30 to 40 watts. There we go, now it's kicking in. 840 for the heater. Okay, let's see what kind of power draw we have for a full cycle. Here's where we are after the first draw on the water tank. 1:29 left. I'll bring you back in a little bit. Here we are, a little over halfway through. I just had to add some more water to it, so it did draw that tank down completely. Over here in the drain section, we've got a little over half. On this side, I put 3/4 of a container back in there, so it's drawing about another quarter or so. Also, and I'm pretty sure it's the equipment that I'm using. Let's see if I can get a number on this. 232 watt hours. So, a little while ago, it tripped the breaker. Not the ground fault, it tripped the breaker. So I do wonder, I am using a pretty long extension cord on this one, and definitely shouldn't be. The amount of power that the heater used shouldn't be enough to trip that breaker. It's a 20 amp circuit. So I'm hopeful that this was just a conglomeration of what I'm using to try to power this. But I would urge a little bit of caution with this, apparently. Potentially, if you have a dedicated circuit you could plug this into, that would be ideal. Or if you don't, it might be worthwhile. Just don't try to pull any other big power draws like a hot plate or secondary burner or induction cooktop or anything like that off of the same circuit while you're running this. At least that would be my recommendation. Now let's keep going and see how the rest of it looks. Here we are at a little less than 20 minutes left. We've used a good extra half gallon here. I did have to dump this. So obviously, in order for it to pull 1.5 gallons of water, it doesn't have enough volume over here to handle it. So if you're going to run the long cycle, I would recommend keep a close eye on it or run your drain into the sink. Now, I think you can hear this. We've got a fan running. I checked the power draw and there's no heater involved in this fan. So, from what I can tell, this must be some kind of a drying technique. It does make me wonder if this is what the UV sounds like. Anyway, 17 minutes left. Looks like we're done in here. So there was no more drainage after I emptied that tank, so I would say probably about a quart spilled out onto the floor. So you've got a little over 1 gallon. So it uses up about a quart in evaporation and condensation on the inside of the unit. But you can see the residue here from where it overflowed. So definitely, if you're going to do the long cycle, drain it into your sink. It'll work out better. Over here, we used 416 watt hours total power. That did not reset when the breaker shut down. This one has an internal battery to keep the information, so that should be a proper cycle. Let's see how things look in here. Get you a little light on the subject. Now it's warm. Things are definitely drier than they were when I ran the fruit cleaning cycle. Let's take a look at some of this stuff. So that is dry and clean. Looks good. Yep, nice and clean. Looks good. So the bowl was the dirtiest thing I put in here. Let's see how well it did. Yeah, it looks great. It looks great. So I would say this does a really good job on dishes. So this held 3 plates, 1 bowl. You might have been able to fit 2 bowls in here, and enough utensils for maybe 1 person eating twice, 2 people eating once, something along those lines. So definitely, it's not designed for a large load, but if you ran this after each meal or after each day, depending on how much you use, it would work pretty well. So here we stand. An 1.5-hour cycle, run on the remote tanks. Again, needed to add a little extra water to the supply and should have dumped the drain tank at some point during this cycle. but it cleans really well from what I can tell. Hopefully this is helpful for you. I'll see you over the next horizon.